All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Janelle. I'm from the Career Development Center. We have some families joining us right now. We have some families going to be joining us in the future. Know that those of you that are present will stop the recording and then we'll ask questions at the end. And then for those of you that are joining us later, you can always email me at henry@kutztown.edu if you do have a question. So the presentation that you're seeing today is the internship and job search presentation that we offer to students throughout the semester as well. So this is the exact same presentations that students see. We offer it about 11 different times each semester, but thought you may find it valuable to hear what we are telling those students about internships and job searching. I'm going to skip to this slide because I don't know if we'll ever get to this ever again. We had to practice this. But I don't know if we'll ever go back to this. It's kind of sad to say that, but it's kind of the truth. Maybe there will be a new custom that we have in our country for meeting people, but we always kind of did that just to get the presentation up and going and to kind of reinforce the skill that is a common thing that you do have to do. Okay. Every presentation that we offer to students, we do give them those learning objectives that you see and the career readiness skills that we're going to go over. I don't need to go over those with you today, but just to make you aware that we are very intentional about what we present to students, making sure that they have some learning objectives that they are going to hit and working on career interests. The next piece is internship search. Now, we do this in one presentation because essentially when someone is doing an internship search, they're employing the same skills, the same abilities as you would during a job search. So let's talk about internship searching first. Just a couple different nuances. And I want to introduce you to what is an internship and how we define an internship here at Kutztown. The technical definition of an internship is a carefully monitored work or volunteer experiences that has learning goals combined with it, and there's some reflection at the end of what you learned from it. So as opposed to just a volunteer or a part-time job that someone goes to and then comes home at night, there's always that active reflection and learning goals that they have to hit, and the employer has to agree upon those learning goals. So internships can be held in the fall, they can be held in the spring, they can be summertime, they can be paid, they can be not paid, they can be for credit or not for credit. So when your student lists an internship on their resume, it could be any one of those categories. And frankly, future employers don't care. They just want to know that they have done an internship and they come with skills and experience. What I want you to know as parents is that if your student is coming back to you and they're saying they're doing an unpaid internship, not for credit, that can be a Department of Labor issue, kind of a red flag. So they, as the student, needs to know that basically they are volunteering. That they are gaining nothing from that. And really it needs to be more of a volunteer opportunity. So again, paid or for credit, awesome. Department of Labor has no issues with that because the student is getting something in return, but not for pay, not for credit, kind of a bad situation. All right, so why should a student do an internship? Obviously, it's gaining experiences and an idea of what it's really like in the work world. Being able to apply classroom lessons to the real world situation. And frankly, it kind of gives them, just to dip their toes in the water and say, wow, I love this, or man, I hate this. It's so much easier to walk away from an internship knowing that you hated your experience and it wasn't what you wanted to do for a career rather than the first job, knowing that you don't want to do that. And frankly, it also increases your network. It gives you some opportunities to gain some references, to get to know people, to gain improvement in your communication skills and your professionalism. Some things for students to remember about internship is deadlines. Deadlines both on the university side of things for credit and for the actual company. When are the deadlines for applying? Many different industries have different timelines, such as the accounting world. Their timeline is like a semester prior than everyone else's timeline. So that is something accounting students know already, but typically students would search for an internship a semester before they would do the internship. What are the organization requirements? What are they requiring them to come in with? Do they need to be a junior? Do they need to have a certain amount of credits in hand? And then requirements for the university to give credit. Do you need to be a junior in your department? What GPA do you have to have? How many credits can you get out of that? That is a conversation that your student needs to have with their academic advisor. In the Career Development Center, we are definitely here to help them walk through the getting of an internship, but the specific details of for credit needs to go through their academic advisor. The student may need to, in addition to their resume and their cover letter, which we can help them with here, is to have references and a portfolio potentially. So really, it's kind of that detailed checklist of what is an application for that internship. And then on the flip side is that why do employers offer internships? I think the number one reason is it's a recruiting strategy. Yes, they want to give back to the university. Yes, they want to give back to new students coming into the industry, but frankly, it's a recruiting tool for them. About 85% of interns receive a job offer after that point or in the future from that internship company. So it's really a recruiting strategy for the company. And then kind of flipping into job searching, we talk about, now we're going to move into actual strategies for internship and job searching, but I wanted to get a lot of the internship questions out of the way first. The one thing I always have to remind students is you are now selling and marketing yourself. Yes, you may be an accounting major. Yes, you may be an education major, but you're now also needing to focus of how to market yourself and your skills and your abilities. So sometimes people need to think about that as this package that they're selling out to companies and individuals in organizations. And frankly, they need to know all about them so that when they go into interviews, they can talk about themselves. So thinking through who they are, what they're interested in can really be valuable. And maybe those are conversations that you as families can start, and the benefits that students can give to a potential employer. So those are high level conversations that we have to have, and hopefully you can have as well. So things to think about, right? Obviously, you first, them, the student, right? They need to know about their interests, their skills and their abilities, their values, their personality preferences. Where is their geographic bubble that they want to work in? Those are all questions that they need to think about. Obviously, interest, skills, and abilities. Yep, we all kind of figure that out. Values is the one I always want to talk about, and personality preferences. And I always use Chick-fil-A as the example of a value system. We have a Chick-fil-A here on campus. They are closed on Sundays because of religious values. And I have students who will not work for Chick-fil-A or go through their management program because it's a conflict of their values. So students need to be aware of what type of statements a company has made, what types of organizations they work with, what types of populations they do not work with. So that conflict of values needs to be there as well. And it's not just religious values. It's those personal values that you're not going to you're not going to question. Personality types, I have a student that I'm working with right now who is a very strong-willed female, and that is not going over well in some of the industries that she's going into. And she's starting to realize that, man, that's awful, right? So her personality preferences of being that strong-willed individual is really making her decide or redecide locations. And then geographics. I think all of you can understand this one very importantly, about their geographic bubble that they want to work in. Where do they want to live? Is it a need to be at home right away? Is it a need for them to move away? I always do a song and dance with students about relocation. 23-year-old Janelle had a chance to move to Hawaii and she didn't because she had a cute little apartment in Erie, PA. Oh my God, really? You're not going to relocate to Hawaii for a job because of a stupid apartment? Like, these are things that I have to make sure that I introduce, that if the opportunity is there to relocate to somewhere like that, do it. Go experience it before you're tied down with a mortgage and children in school, and a spouse to consider. So geographic location is a big conversation and it might be scary as parents. I get it. I'm a parent as well. But that's a conversation that they need to think through, and have with you about where they want to work and where they want to live. The next thing is obviously learning about the opportunities that are available and making themselves more experienced, more marketable, I guess I want to say. Obviously, we talked about that volunteer, that internship piece, but also job searching, job shadowing or informational interviewing, really where they sit down and they talk to somebody about what they're doing in their job. I know COVID makes it kind of hard to do job shadowing right now. So if you know someone in your circle as a family, who is doing something similar to or the same as what your child wants to get into, set them up with an informational interview. Get them to sit down and have a cup of coffee, even if it's over Zoom, to learn about what's happening in that field, what they love about their job, what they hate about their job, what's a day like. That can be very powerful information to students. And I have Candid Career on there. So I'm going to ask that you write down kutztown.edu/candid career. This is a vendor that we use where there are pre-recorded informational interviews of different career paths. So your student can go into Candid Career using their Kutztown login, and search for a informational interview video of someone who does counseling, someone who does accounting, whatever it is. So there are those pre-recorded ones because we know COVID has kind of made job shadowing next to impossible right now. So Candid Career is a great resource. Obviously, while they are here on campus, they can definitely join clubs and organizations and professional associations. And we always want them to do that internship or two to gain experience under their belt. An employer is not, and you all know this for the most part, that an employer is not going to hire someone without experience under their belts. And how do they get that? That's through part-time work, that's through internships, that's through related experiences. So if you have a younger student, you want to make sure that you're pushing them to get related experience in the field they want to go into. The next piece is then after they learn about themselves and what they want to do is to get ready for those conversations that they're going to start having at job fairs or when they're networking with people. So if you want to take a screenshot of that or take a picture of the screen with your phones, you can do that, because this is maybe what we used to call a 30-second elevator pitch, a 30-second spiel, introduction spiel. At Kutztown, we really like to say that it's called sharing your news. When you are meeting someone, when you are networking with someone, you want to share with them your name, your education, where you received your bachelor's degree, your work experience, what you're bringing to the table, and then your skills. So this is just a nice little reminder way to network with people, to introduce yourself at career fairs, and frankly, sometimes this needs to be practiced. We have students on the spectrum here at Kutztown who we work through this and who we practice this with, because it needs to be practiced. It can be uncomfortable. Even for a very typical individual, this can be kind of, what do I say to somebody at a job fair? We just had 3 job fairs last week. They were all virtual, and some of them were group sessions like this, where I would be presenting about the company to a group of individuals, or it could be an individual session where it was me and one other person kind of interviewing, and that can be really scary. So this is a great way to start preparing conversations when you're marketing yourself to prospective employers. All right, so here is moving in, and I already alluded to this a little bit, is about the number one way to find jobs right now is networking, right? Um, it's finding people, talking to people, getting to know them, getting to know the companies they work for, and then well as the postings that they have for their companies, or they know about a job that's coming down the pipe. So thinking about networking in your own world, this might be valuable for you as well. But number one way. So how do we tell students to network? We want them to make sure that everyone they interact with knows what you're looking for in terms of a job. So obviously that's us here at Kutztown, the professors, the advisors, but then at home, family and friends, parents of friends, friends of your parents. You know, we always tell students that. Do you know who your next door neighbor is and what they actually do? They could be doing exactly what you want to do, and right there they are. So making sure that you get to know who other people are, and sometimes that's very scary for them, and you have to be the one to push them to do it, or to say, hey, you know who does that? Joe's mom does that. So you know, you just kind of want to be the voice that gets them to start talking to people. And the second area is employer research. So obviously, if we don't know anyone who's doing those things in that industry or field that a student is interested in, then we need to start doing some research, right? We need to start thinking about who are the companies that are doing what I want to do. I'm working with a student right now with a very specific niche market in the gaming industry. And so we have to talk about who are the employers who are hiring in that industry, and then who are their competitors, who are their sister organizations, and then that is his breadth of searching for jobs. That's who he's looking for jobs and internships. So you need to start working in it. Well, and I don't want to say you because you're not the one searching for jobs. Your child or your student needs to start searching for jobs, and through the employers who are doing that. And they may need to visit their websites on a very regular basis to see what jobs are posted. And that's okay. So that is the second thing that I need to do. So where do you look? How do you find out who those employers are? Obviously within your network first. Obviously, we had a lot of resources here at Kutztown. The first one being Handshake. Handshake is where we post every job that comes in from companies and organizations. So Handshake is the first place I would recommend your student to go to. Obviously, all of the recruiting events that we do, all of the internship and job search fairs, we can really help students with who are our main employee partners that come onto campus to recruit. Professional associations, if there is a professional association tied with that organization or that industry, that might give them a job board that's listed. And then the other one I really want to talk about is social media, and that is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where students can really find some valuable and current information about companies. There is a company search area in LinkedIn, and there is a job search tool on LinkedIn. They can start following companies on social media, you know, and then hopefully they'll find the postings about the jobs. So LinkedIn is the social media that we are pushing students to get onto when it's time to internship and job search. Obviously, we have to make sure that we keep their social profiles private, and that doesn't bleed over into their professional social media. So that's probably the number one I wanted to talk about the most with you. Obviously, there's a lot of those online job boards that they could get into. and just start searching on a regular basis. I would definitely want students to employ all of these techniques when they're doing internship and job search, not just hold on to one called Indeed. When we hear alumni coming back and they're saying, Janelle, I've been doing some job searching, and I have to say, well, what are you doing? They're like, oh, I check Indeed every day. And I'm like, well, what else? Nothing. Okay, there's a lot of other stuff that students and alumni can be doing for internship and job searching. So that's, I want to give you a couple of those. It's not the only ones that are out there, but it's the ones that we know are valuable. I alluded to it earlier that we do host internship and job fairs every semester. This year, they're all virtual. If your student is in education, we always have a job fair for educators every spring. That was last Monday. And then if your student is thinking about graduate school, we have a grad school fair every fall. And actually on March 24th, we are hosting a Kutztown grad school fair. So if your student is thinking about that, have them get in touch with us. We can do that. Okay, getting ready to market yourself, right? So student is getting ready to do that internship and that job search. Do they have their resume ready? Do they have their cover letter ready? LinkedIn profile, is it ready? We have an opportunity we have many, many, many workshops, and I'm going to pull down the calendar of events. I just want you all to see that, we try to stay as busy as possible here in the Career Development Center, offering workshops this semester. They're all on Zoom. So your student can attend a lot of different workshops, from this very one that you're listening to today, to salary negotiation, successful interviewing, or if you have a really younger student, it could be something such as choosing a major. So we have a lot of different workshops that students can attend. Once we get back in person, we'll have a walk-in hour where students can come in with their resume and cover letter. Right now, it's being reviewed virtually. And then we have online practice that students can do for mock interviews, where they can go online, choose a bank of questions, and then they can watch themselves interview. They can send it to you to critique. They can send it to me to critique. It's really powerful for them to watch themselves. And I hate to use the word perform, but to be on camera. They need to learn how they look, how they sound. Do they have any little tics? Do they talk with their hands all the time like I do? They just need to be very aware. The next piece is professional wardrobe. They are not used to professional wardrobe. I don't think any of us are right now, because of sweatpants and yoga pants and all those things we've been wearing because of COVID. But once we get back into that, and once interviewing starts, this is the protocol. I don't really care what industry a student is going into. Interviewing is interviewing. And there's an expectation that a professional wardrobe happens. So this might be the year as a graduation present to purchase a suit, a holiday present, birthday present, whatever it is. They need a professional wardrobe. They need to understand that and I can giggle at this, a size 2 suit is going to fit differently than a size 2 pair of sweatpants. We have a career closet here on campus, where students who are in financial need or need something last minute can come down to us, and items are $2 a piece. So we have that opportunity there. But a lot of the time students are realizing it and they're like, oh my God, I got to run somewhere to get a suit. So just making sure that you have those conversations and making sure they're ready for interviewing when the time is there. We already talked about this 30-second commercial and sharing your news, so I don't necessarily need to go over that again, but I do want to bring up just this little, and I'm sorry that it's blurry, that, success is kind of like that iceberg. There's, people only see the top part of it, but they don't see, and hopefully as a family, you're there to support all of this other stuff. Success is okay. Is good, but you will have failures along the way to success, and failures are okay. Just like I have to let my little guys stumble and fall off the balance beam, or, whatever it is, failure is the way that they learn. But we as families and parents need to be supportive of that through the disappointments, through the bad habits, and teaching how how to work hard throughout the time. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm actually going to stop recording as well. So those of you that are watching this after the event, thanks so much for joining me. If you have any questions, you can email them to henry@kutztown.edu. Those of you that are here right now, we'll stop. Hopefully you'll come